According to Carol Ann Tomlinson, teachers in the most exciting and effective differentiated classrooms don't have all the answers. What they do have is optimism and determination. Great day, everyone. I am Miss Freizie Hazel Naranjo, Education Program Specialist 2, Division of Misamis Occidental. And today, I am to discuss on this video about differentiated instruction. Our session objectives are the following. At the end of this session, Als implementers are expected to identify steps in doing differentiated instruction, recognize examples of differentiated instruction, and reflect on the importance of differentiated instruction in Als sessions. Now, let us define differentiated instruction. It is a teaching philosophy based on the premise that teachers should adapt instruction to students' differences because one size does not fit all. Absolutely, because we cannot assume that all learners learn in the same way. Another definition is that it is a classroom practice with a balanced emphasis on individual students and course content. It is a model that guides instructional planning in response to students' needs. Learners differ in terms of background experience, culture, language, gender, interest, and readiness level. These differences will profoundly affect how students learn and the nature of scaffolding they will need at various points in the learning process. Our Als learners are not too much different from the learners in the formal school. I can say they're even more extra unique. So allow me to share with you top 3 reasons why we do differentiated instruction in Als. Number 1, learners have different learning styles. These differences affect learners' motivation and attitudes towards the lessons. We have visual learners. They learn by reading or seeing pictures. Our auditory learners. They process information best by hearing it. We also have read and write learners. This type of learner is someone who needs to read and write down the information to learn it. And we have kinesthetic learners. These learners are natural doers. They learn best when they process information while being physically active or engaged. There are still learning styles I have not mentioned here, but these 4 is the most common and famous for its acronym VARK. Can you now imagine who among your learners are visual, auditory, read and write, and kinesthetic? I bet you do. Another reason is that learners differ in interest and readiness level. It is a fact that our Als learners varies in readiness level. Some say they are high school dropout, but when we assess them, it turns out that their readiness level is elementary. They also have different interests, and if you are able to discover it, it will be a good motivation for them to learn effectively. And the last reason is that learners' engagement varies depending on their learning profile. A learning profile is the complete picture of his or her learning preferences, strengths, and challenges. This defines the engagement each learner will do in his or her learning journey. Now that we have identified top 3 reasons why we should do differentiation in Als, it's time to ask, how to differentiate instruction in Als? I trimmed down the steps into just 3. Step 1. Determine readiness and learners' interest through diagnostic testing and learning inventories. This is where our Als Assessment Tools will be utilized. We have our FLT, the Functional Literacy Test, our ABL, the Assessment for Basic Literacy, and the RPL, or the Recognition of Prior Learning. It is important that you conduct these assessment tools that will serve as your baseline in doing differentiated instruction. Step 2. Variation of content delivery through learners' interest, learning styles, and readiness. Learning competencies in the Als curriculum guide were made from simple to complex, corresponding with the learning level of the learners, labeled also as to basic literacy, elementary, and junior high school. It will guide you on how to vary the content that you will give to your learners. And the last step, learners work on varied activities, assessment, and projects. There are several good reasons to consider offering a variety of assessment, activities, and projects. It is to give opportunities to learners to explore concepts, make sense of ideas, and demonstrate what they know and understand. We can do this in Als. We have our learning activity sheets, Als modules, life skills modules that consist interesting activities and projects that they could do. As an Als teacher, you can innovate. Instruction can be differentiated through process, content, product, and environment. There are some ways on how you will differentiate your instruction in your Als sessions. As to content, you can give your learners the following activities. Match vocabulary words to definitions. Read a passage of text and answer related questions. Identify an author's position. Provide evidence to support this viewpoint. Or, you can create a PowerPoint presentation summarizing the lesson. As to process, provide textbooks for visual and word learners. You can allow auditory learners to listen to audiobooks or audio lessons. You can give kinesthetic learners the opportunity to complete an interactive assignment online. In terms of product or output, read and write learners can write a book report. Visual learners can create a graphic organizer of the story. Auditory learners can give oral report. And kinesthetic learners can build a diorama illustrating the story, or as simple as they can do a role play of the story. As to environment, you can break some students into reading groups to discuss the assignment. You can allow students to read individually if preferred. And you can create quiet spaces where there are no distractions. Als teachers are now challenged to design instructional lessons that are tailored to diverse learners' needs that go well beyond traditional tasks. Using differentiated instruction in Als can go beyond contributing the success of every Als learner. Before I end my presentation, let me show you this. Equality is treating everyone the same. Equity means every learner's needs are met so that they are given the same opportunity to succeed. But liberation is freedom to learn and explore in their own way and capacity. Always remember, sa Als may pag-asa. Thank you.